All right, let's dive into a car that's making some serious waves. The all-electric 2026 Audi A6 Avant e-tron. It's sleek, it's powerful, and it's Audi's first huge leap into the world of premium electric wagons, or as they call them, estates. And that's the perfect question to start with. The electric car market is just flooded with SUVs, right? The A6 Avant e-tron shows up as the super stylish, elegant, and honestly pretty rare alternative. It's for anyone who wants all that cutting-edge tech, but without the bulky, high-riding SUV look. So, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with its unique design. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of its performance, step inside that wild high-tech cockpit, ask the big questions about practicality, and finally, we'll wrap it all up with our final verdict. Okay, first up, where does this car even fit? Well, the A6 Avant e-tron is more than just another EV. It's really a statement against that whole SUV craze, and it's going head-to-head with some big names, like the brand new BMW i5 Touring. This slide just nails its whole vibe. Instead of all the aggressive lines and angles you see everywhere else, Audi is doubling down on what it does best, that understated, low-key elegance. It's a car that manages to look super sophisticated without screaming for attention. Classic Audi. All right, now for the really exciting part, the specs. This is where the A6 Avant e-tron is designed to blow you away, especially if you've ever had that little bit of range anxiety with electric cars. Get ready for this number, 463 miles. That is a massive official range, putting it right at the top of its class. Now, of course, we all know how official numbers work. Real-world tests put it closer to a still very, very impressive 300 to 330 miles, which for most people is more than enough to handle a long road trip without even thinking about stopping to charge. And what's really interesting here is what this charging speed means in the real world. Thanks to its super fast 270 kilowatt charging, you can add over 180 miles of range in just 10 minutes. That is an absolute game changer for road trips. And check out the performance options here. The big takeaway? Every single one of these is quick. The base model hits 62 miles an hour in just 6 seconds, and things only get crazier from there, all the way up to the insane 3.9 seconds for the S6 Avant. Let's be clear, there is no slow version of this car. Okay, let's move inside. The interior is absolutely jam-packed with incredible tech, but it's also got a few surprising compromises that have definitely got people talking. So the first thing you notice is just screens. It's a wall of screens. It looks stunning, super modern. But this minimalist approach means that basically everything, and I mean even the climate controls, is handled through that touchscreen. And that's not going to be for everyone. Speaking of tech, these optional virtual mirrors are a huge talking point. They swap out traditional glass for cameras and little screens inside the doors. I mean, they look incredibly futuristic, and they do help with aerodynamics, but they're a pricey add-on, and a lot of people say they really mess with your depth perception. Takes some serious getting used to. And here we have a major point of criticism. This quote from a review just hits the nail on the head. It's kind of baffling, really. On a car that can easily top 65,000 pounds, you have to pay extra for power seats. They come standard with manual adjustment, which in the premium car world just feels like a huge misstep. So you're starting to see the contrast, right? On one hand, you have this mind-blowing tech, like the augmented reality head-up display, which one reviewer called a work of art. But then you also get some hard, scratchy plastics down low in the cabin. Rear legroom is just okay. And the standard suspension is pretty firm, but you can't even get the adaptive air suspension upgrade here in the UK, even though it's available elsewhere. But of course, this is an estate car, an Avant. That means practicality is the name of the game. It's non-negotiable. So let's see how the A6 e-tron's numbers actually stack up against its main rivals. And, well, this chart tells a pretty clear story. This is probably one of the A6's biggest weaknesses. At 502 liters, the boot is a decent size, sure, but it is noticeably smaller than the BMW i5 Touring, and it gets absolutely dwarfed by the massive VW ID.7 Tour. For a car that's supposed to be all about practicality, that's a pretty big compromise. But it's not all bad news on the practical front. It does have some real strengths. There's a handy 27-liter front trunk, a frunk, which is perfect for stashing charging cables. And its towing capacity of 2,100 kilograms, that is seriously impressive for an electric car, making it a genuinely useful tow vehicle.
So, after looking at the amazing style, the incredible performance, and the mixed bag on practicality, what's the final word? Let's bring it all together. Here's the whole story in a nutshell. The pros are huge. We're talking class-leading range, lightning-fast charging, and a super refined, powerful drive. But the cons are just as significant. It has a high price tag, it's less practical than its main rivals, and some of the interior choices and standard features just feel like they belong on a much, much cheaper car. So, at the end of the day, the Audi A6 Avant e-tron is a technological masterpiece. It really does set a new benchmark for what an electric estate can do when it comes to range and performance. The real question is whether those incredible headline-grabbing strengths are enough for you to overlook its compromises in practicality and premium feel, especially when you consider that very premium price.
Grazie per averci seguito.